Isaac had always enjoyed the quiet solitude of late-night train journeys. The rhythmic clatter of the tracks and the gentle sway of the carriage were usually soothing. But on this particular night, something felt different. Isaac boarded the train just before midnight, headed for his hometown after a long business trip. The station was eerily deserted, with only the flickering fluorescent lights and the distant hum of a vending machine breaking the silence. He was the sole passenger in the dimly lit carriage. As the train pulled out of the station, a sense of unease settled over him. The first hour passed uneventfully. Isaac tried to read, but the words on the page seemed to blur together. He decided to get some sleep and closed his eyes, letting the gentle motion of the train lull him into a light doze. He awoke with a start. The train had come to a stop, and the lights flickered before plunging into darkness. Isaac checked his watch, 2:47 a.m. The silence was deafening. He peered out the window but could see nothing beyond the inky blackness of the night. Suddenly, a chilling sound pierced the silence, a distant, echoing laugh that sent shivers down his spine. Isaac's heart raced as he strained to see down the length of the carriage. There was no one in sight. He stood up, deciding to find a conductor or another passenger. As he walked through the empty carriages, he noticed the air growing colder, his breath forming misty clouds in the dim light. The train was utterly deserted. He reached the end of the train and turned to head back, but the laughing sound echoed again, louder and closer this time. "Hello," Isaac called out, his voice trembling. There was no response, just the unsettling silence. He continued walking, his footsteps echoing eerily in the empty train. He reached his original carriage and saw something that made his blood run cold. A set of wet footprints leading from the seat to the door he had just entered. The laughter came again, now accompanied by faint whispers. Isaac felt a cold sweat break out on his forehead. He followed the footprints, which seemed to lead to a compartment he had not noticed before. The door was slightly ajar, and the whispers grew louder as he approached. Isaac hesitated, but his curiosity got the better of him. He pushed the door open and stepped inside. The compartment was empty except for an old, tattered book lying on the floor. He picked it up and flipped through the pages. They were filled with handwritten notes and sketches of strange symbols. Suddenly, the train lurched forward, and the lights flickered back on. Isaac stumbled, dropping the book. When he looked up, he saw a figure standing at the far end of the compartment. A tall, gaunt man with hollow eyes and a sinister grin. "Who are you?" Isaac demanded, his voice shaking. The man did not respond. Instead, he began to walk slowly towards Isaac, the whispers growing louder with each step. Isaac backed away in terror. The door of the carriage was jammed, trapping him inside. He was afraid, and suddenly, the laughing voice stopped. He looked back, and the masked man was standing right in front of him, his sword aiming to strike. Isaac tried to scream, but no sound came out. The sword slashed towards him, and just before it made contact, Isaac jolted awake, his heart pounding in his chest. "Sir, are you all right?" He was back in his seat, the train bathed in the soft morning light. The conductor looked concerned as he shook Isaac gently. "You must have had a nightmare," the conductor said. "We've arrived at your stop." Isaac nodded weakly, his heart still pounding. He grabbed his bag and stepped off the train, grateful to be back on solid ground. As he walked away, he glanced back at the train and saw the gaunt man standing at the window, staring at him with that same sinister grin. Isaac hurried away, vowing never to travel by train at night again. But deep down, he knew that the horrors of that midnight journey would haunt him forever.